read Crescent City. We got some stuff we got to talk about. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Monet and you guys are watching Life as Monet. Today's video is going to be about Sara J. Maas, Crescent City. This book has been getting a lot of back and forth reviews. Some like it, some absolutely hate it. Me personally, I will say that I actually did like the book. I'm not gonna say that this video is kind of no spoiler friendly, so please watch at your own discretion. I will be talking about some of the characters, some of the things that they did, and some of the stuff that I thought about what they did. Jumping right into it, Bryce. I cannot say that I like Bryce as a character. I have read from Sara J. Maas, Court of Thorns and Roses, and although I wasn't in love with Feyre, she was more tolerable to me than Bryce, and I did grow to love her in the end and everything that she stood for. But Bryce is kind of stubborn, not kind of, she's definitely stubborn. She's a hothead, she can't be told anything, she's indecisive, she has a lot of, I would say, interpersonal turmoil that she doesn't deal with, stuff that she kind of deflects from. And I can't say that I liked Bryce as a character. As far as Danica though, I do like Danica. I feel like their friendship was probably one of the most beautiful or beautifully written friendships I've ever seen in a book. There's this super emotional scene at the end of the book where Danica comes back to life, kind of, her spirit comes back to lead Bryce to do something that needs to be done in order for them to save their lives. And I will admit, it had me crying. I'm like, no! That part of the book definitely did make me cry. I wished that we had known Danica a little bit longer in the book because she did die pretty soon early on. So you know that they're best friends, you know that they're super close, you know that they do everything together, but you don't really understand the depth of their relationship or the depth of how close they are until much later in the book. And even though it still hits you the same way, I would have liked to see them develop as characters and like kind of seeing their relationship progress. Maybe if she ever in the future went back and did a prequel to this, I would love to see a book on how Danica and Bryce met in college, especially Bryce getting to know Danica's mother, who's this super vicious viper of a wolf. And I think that would be a really good read. So Sara J. Maas, if you're watching this, I would love to see how Danica and Bryce got to know each other. As far as the characters in the book, wasn't really a fan of Bryce. I did like Danica. Surprisingly, even though she wasn't my favorite character, I did like Danica's mother. She was the perfect antagonist in this book. She was perfectly vicious, and I think Sara did a really good job of portraying just how Bryce can be this I don't care what you say or what you think about me kind of person, but Danica's mother is one of the few people who can really stop her in her tracks and make her like a deer in headlights. And I kind of enjoyed those parts of the book because eventually Bryce had to learn to stand up for herself, but it took quite a bit of while for her to do that. And I don't even know why she was so sensitive when it came down to Danica's mom, because Danica and her mother was not even close. At one point, Danica's mother was a suspect for Danica's murders, and that was believable. It wasn't like, oh my god, she might have killed her daughter. It was like, I see how you concluded that there. I would like to know a little bit more about Fury because I feel like her past was left, or what she does today was left super opaque for a reason. I do think that Sara J. Maas has planted so many she's planted so many characters and left out so much about their past that she could really write plenty of books about it. I would read a book about how Bryce and Danica met in college. I would read a book about how Hunt led the revolution or tried to lead the revolution when he was in love with his former lover and how that failed and how he came to be a slave. I would definitely read a book on that. So, and I would also read a book on Fury, even if it was in a different world, different galaxy, whether Bryce was in there or not. I'm interested in Fury. So those books, if they ever came out, I would definitely read. Getting back to the storyline, there is so much information in this book, especially in the beginning. It can be overwhelming. Like, I was rereading the same page 1 to 2, 3 times, and I'm like, wait, what? And then I have to keep flipping back and forth. There is a map in the front of the book that was actually kind of helpful. That looks like this. But it wasn't all that helpful. It wasn't like a cheat sheet, because a lot of the times I was still super confused. I didn't know who or what they were talking about. And it took me about, I want to say about 350 pages in before I really understood. And then towards the end of the book, a lot of characters ended up coming back, and I didn't remember much about them, because my brain, I guess, was powered with information that, yeah. So if you're gonna read this book, I definitely say when you're starting in the beginning, it can be very boring. It's not a lot happening, but the information is vital. And if you don't pay attention to the information that she's giving you in the beginning of the book, you will get lost. And that's one of the things that I don't like about this book, because the beginning is slow, the middle is steady pace, and then the end is like somebody got in a Ferrari and pedal to the metal. That the book took off. So I wish that she had, I guess, divided the timelines as things occur in the book a little bit better, because the middle I actually really enjoyed. I didn't get disinterested. I didn't get bored. I wasn't overwhelmed. Things were happening at a steady pace. But then in the end, I was like, my heart was beating. If you've read the end of this book, then you know I was like, what is going on? This just took off. And I'm excited for book number 2. I know that people are saying that this isn't like, and I will say it's not like any of the work that she's written before. I haven't read the entire TOG series, but I do know a little bit about it, and I have read the entire A Court of Thorn and Roses series, and this is not like A Court of Thorn and Roses. After the first book, when Feyre and Rhys got together, there was quite a bit of smut in the second and third book, especially the third book, and then I know that A Court of Frost and Starlight had quite a bit of smutty scenes. Bryce and Hunt don't even kiss until like 600 out of 900 pages in. So it is a lot of, oh my god, are they gonna finally kiss? No. Okay, this is the moment they're finally gonna kiss. They're gonna do it now. It was excruciatingly painful that every single time there was a beginning of a smut scene, she cut it off. And I'm not super into reading stuff like that, but don't lead me to the water and then drain it. And then lead me to the water and then drain it. It was really annoying. But I think that she didn't let Bryce and Hunt really get involved with each other, because maybe they're not in game. You guys know Sarah J. Maas is super famous for switching love interests. And even in A Court of Thorn and Roses, in the first book, I actually liked Tamlin. And in the second book, I feel like, especially the second and the third, she kind of took him dark and made his character kind of ugly. And I could get where his anger was coming from. I could understand where his jealousy was coming from. I just wish that she had not totally undid all of the good qualities that she gave Tamlin in the first book, because in the first book and then going into the second book, I'm like, wait, what happened? This isn't the Tamlin that I fell in love with. And even the stuff that he did that was still kind of regarding to his old self, helping her out, being there for her, it still was like, don't make Tamlin out to be such a bad person. He's not this bad. I don't know. I didn't like that about A Court of Thorns and Roses, how negative she switched the roles on Tamlin. And I hope that she doesn't do that in this book with Hunt, because I respect him. I respect what he stands for. I like his morals, his integrity, even though his integrity does come into question at one point in the book. And that took me for a loop, because I was like, everybody figured it out. And then me and Bryce are just standing here like, okay, so anybody want to fill me in? And we're trying to figure out who killed Danica in this entire book. And it goes from one person to another thing. And then we think we have it figured out. And then everything goes to hell. And then we don't have it figured out. And then we think we have it figured out again. And then in the end, there's another cliffhanger as to saying that there's more information or more things to be discovered. So I was like, are we ever going to get... Of course, we figured out who killed Danica, but are we ever really going to get to the bottom of everything? Because it seems like for every stone that we turn over, 1,000 of them are still waiting to be turned. One of the scenes in this book that I absolutely loved, besides Danica and Bryce's reunion in the end, is the scene where she kills the angel. Yeah. I'm not gonna spoil it for you if you haven't read the book, but once you do read it, you will see why I am in love with it, because that was probably the most savage thing I've ever seen her write. Even more savage than things I've seen Feyre do in A Court of Thorns and Roses. Like, I was like, okay, Bryce, you got a little heart to you. I was like, okay, Bryce, I see you. A little heartless, but okay. So all in all, I will say that I did enjoy this book. It was quite a long read, quite a lengthy read. Getting past the beginning was hard, but it was totally worth it in the end. And I'm excited to see where she goes in this series, especially like I said earlier, she has so many avenues that she can explore with all the characters in this book and the world that they live in. And I am entirely here for it. I'm sorry if you are not a Sarah J. Maas fan, but I am. Anyways, thanks for stopping by my channel. Be sure to click on another video and then another video after that. You don't gotta go nowhere. Stay with me. Don't leave. I will see you guys next time.